Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. Wife cheated with dozens of men. Post-separation. I'm a man in my 30s and was with my now ex-wife for 15 years and we have 3 young kids. We had been together from 21 years old to 37. Being in my early 20s when we had first started dating, I ignored the huge red flags that she had cheated on her ex-boyfriend whom she had lived with for several years. She even had a threesome with 2 guys whilst he was at work. She stated she just wanted to feel wanted. My instincts were telling me differently, but I stayed and tried to put it behind me. I was young and naive and assumed that sure, we all make mistakes in life. Stupidly, I would later go on to ask her to marry me and I knew I had a gut instinct telling me to not do it. After about 3 years of being married in which I thought things were going fine and we had our first baby, things all started to change that winter of 2009. She started going to her friend's house a lot more. Then she started sneaking out of the house in the middle of the night. We would go to bed at say 10 p.m. and I would awake at 1 a.m. and she was gone and car was gone. She would return around 4 a.m. or so. This went on for months. I would call her phone and no answer. She had also started smoking and drinking. She had never been a drinker but suddenly started. I was also in the middle of going into the military. We were arguing and fighting all the time as well. Where the hell was she going and what was she doing? I would phone and text her and no reply. She started smoking. She started smoking weed and drinking. I then left for basic training and 5 weeks into training, she tells me on the phone that she is pregnant. We had barely been touching each other and I've carried this deep feeling ever since that my daughter is not mine. My boys are spitting images of me but not her. Something has always just felt off. She lied and talked me into thinking she is mine, telling me I'm forgetting about the sexual occasions we had before. I know now that's gaslighting. I needed to focus on the training and when I had gone home on leave, she was acting normal again and acting all loving wife and picked me up at the airport. During that leave, her female friend was looking after our son and my STBXW got a text from her friend's boyfriend stating come get your baby or I will expose your lover. My ex-wife had a story for everything yet I fell yet again for it. I knew deep down there probably was a lover. I never did find out and after I left the military for medical reasons we moved to a new area far away and life went on. For years I've been terrified of a paternity test as it would crush me and I'm so scared of destroying my little girl. However, I am doing a paternity test this year. The person we believe she was cheating with was an unemployed alcoholic with bipolar who lived with his mother in a trailer park. Stay classy. Her stories also changed when I was coming home from the army when she said he had tried to kiss her. Nothing ever added up. She swears blind to this day that she never cheated, but going by what was to come it is pretty clear she was indeed cheating. Fast forward to 2020 and this is when everything fell apart on a major scale. At the start of lockdown virus in early April she started acting weird. She started hiding her phone. Normally we went to bed and it was face up beside the bed. Now it was face down and on silent. She also changed the passcode. Her attitude changed on a level I never knew she was capable of being. She started screaming at me over minor issues. I would walk past her on the sofa and she would scream that I was giving her dirty looks. She kept shouting at me that I never loved her and I wanted a doormat. Everything I did was criticized. She was constantly angry and picked fights over everything. She then suddenly wanted to start going for walks on her own, which she had never done in 15 years. She has always had a turbulent relationship with her sister and a year previous had wanted to ghost her from our life altogether. She started taking the kids with her to stay at her sister's every single weekend. The kids say she never left the house, but I think the possibility is she was going out when they were in bed or she was lying about going to the store. Changed passwords on all her social media. Suddenly hid her friends list on Facebook. Started drinking and hiding bottles of vodka around the house. Her phone was now glued to her, always in her pocket. Even if she went to the bathroom it was in her pocket. One Saturday night she got so drunk she used the kitchen floor as a toilet. She then passed out and her phone kept lighting up at 2 a.m. I got into it via her fingerprint and that's when my whole world collapsed. She to this day does not even know half of what I found. I found she was sexting nearly 20 men via WhatsApp and Snapchat on a daily basis and storing their names under female names. She was making videos of touching herself at 6 AM when we were all sleeping and sending the videos and photos to them all. I caught her asking for men on Snapchat when they would be in the area to hook up. One of them ended a message saying, "Now you can go home and finish yourself off." I will assume she met him in his car. She kept cheating with one guy in particular, and despite being caught several times she kept doing it. I went straight away to file for divorce the next day after discovery. She stated she had deleted her Snapchat and removed these men from her phone. I did once again gain access to her phone and found she had set up a new Snapchat under her maiden name and only had him added to it. A few days later I left a GoPro camera hidden in the kitchen recording and caught her on camera taking her shirt down and taking sexual photos of herself whilst the kids were 15 feet away in the other room. Not even 72 hours after lying straight to my face that there was no him and she was not cheating, I caught her red-handed. Then one Sunday evening, maybe a month later, I was informed she was on Tinder. I had a look and there she was, and stating she had a boyfriend who wanted to watch her sleep with other men in front of him. She went into a sad sausage face when I confronted her and showed her the screenshots of her profile. Of course she said it was not her and just somebody being malicious. This person even managed to spell certain words the exact way she does. Her other excuse for how it was not her was that they did not use her full name. Think of using Phil instead of Philip. Plus Tinder also shows distance and this profile was within half mile of our house. I said we should phone the police then and have it investigated. She stated she had bigger things to worry about, like our marriage, than to worry about a stupid fake profile. Within 20 minutes of the Tinder profile being found, it had been deleted or set to hidden. I had friends check also and it was gone. Surely a catfish, a malicious person, would have had zero idea that I had found the profile. I informed and showed my solicitors and they asked how stupid does she think we are. It was a bit like the time where I seen hikes all over her right bosom and she claimed it was from our child climbing over her 3 young kids under the age of 11, and never once in those 11 years had any such bruising happen. She came home one afternoon and seen bruises on my shoulder that looked like hikes and she went ballistic and started screaming and throwing things at me. She does not do irony. Things then got really bad and I was arrested for suspicion of assaulting her, and this got social services involved, who then removed us from being together. Just too much to post all at once. I'm slowly trying to fit the puzzle together, but I know I won't, and what I've discovered is the tip of the iceberg. The suspicion of common assault was dropped by the police as there was no evidence and no witnesses. It was her friend who phoned the police that night, and my solicitors believe I was set up based on the evidence and the situation I was going through. My kids were interviewed twice by social services, but they stated there was no concerns at all towards child safety and that I was clearly a decent father and the kids deeply loved me. They merely wanted my ex-wife and I apart, and they declared I was not allowed to remain in the family home. She had then gone from ignoring me to messaging me about how much she ruined everything and how she never stopped loving me and wishes she could go back so none of this had happened. Then she rages to screaming at me, accusing me of having girlfriends, and she screams that they are who's. I've not had any girlfriends nor cheated. She used to assault me, would grab me by the balls and dig her nails deep into me that it caused pain for days, and then get right in my face and tell me that if I even looked at another girl she would cut my manhood off so I could never get it up again. Irony was she did these assaults whilst she herself was cheating. 2 weeks before Xmas she turned up at the house unexpectedly and assaulted me by punching me in the chest over and over and screaming, "You're mine. You're mine." She even admitted to this assault via WhatsApp and promised that if she came over for Xmas day with the kids that she would not hit me. At Xmas she tried to sleep with me. She even lied about the school therapist, stating my 9-year-old daughter has bipolar. I spoke to the therapist on the phone and she stated she did not at any point mention bipolar as she is not qualified so forth to even say such a thing. I ended up classed as homeless and now have my new home and my now ex-wife as of 5 weeks ago, after the divorce hearing was granted for adultery, stated you've come out smelling of roses on the day I sadly bumped into her whilst moving. How having 15 years of my life, losing my home and my kids counts as smelling of roses is beyond me. I should also mention that social services at no point met with me nor spoke to me to hear my side of events. They just automatically took her side and removed me from the home. That day she cried and said how she wishes we could go back and for none of this to have happened. Then a week later she turned to awful rage upon receiving the court letter about the time and date for the divorce hearing. States she threw out the items that belonged to myself that she had asked for me to leave. We are now in a situation of potential parental alienation as I receive zero updates on the kids. No calls, no messages, no contact at all. She had previously promised that she would provide updates, calls and photos so forth on a regular basis, but sadly that has not materialized and she now states she should not have to chase me. I'm aware via my solicitors that this can be a common form of abuse after a divorce. I've been reading this group for months now and the one thing I truly believe is that there are no second chances. Cheaters will try and hide the cheating better. They will lie, gaslight, blame shift and set you up in extreme cases. What I've written above is only the tip of the iceberg as to what had been going on. I'm proud of myself for having divorced her. She doesn't sound mentally well. I hope you are getting help if you can afford it. I'm in the middle of getting my therapy set up. Spoke to the therapist a few days ago, so hopefully it will start soon. I've had a shrink and a doctor both state they believe there may be potential that she has a personality disorder. Her sister has an actual diagnosed PD and is a diagnosed pathological liar, so it is not difficult to think she is the same. Just keep practicing that grey rock. It's a shame you can't just ghost her. Keep at it with the therapy. Maybe look into stoicism or radical acceptance methods. Godspeed, brother. Keep the strength. She absolutely seems like a BPD case. She's aggressively projecting how she feels about herself on you. The fact you didn't do what she did to you, abuse and lie and cheat, just pissed her off because she already felt like shit about her choices and had no recourse for her actions. She needs a therapist, but she also needs to never be your problem again. Unfortunately, if the alienation doesn't result in her losing custody, I'd be scared of my children picking up on her dysfunction. Stipulate in the custody agreement she will attend therapy consistently. Not sure if a lawyer can push for that, but if she doesn't get help, your kids will be messed up too. Please protect them, hands pressed together. I beg you to record every interaction with her. If you can, put cameras in your home and don't tell anyone if she accuses you of touching the kids or says you assaulted her, then you have proof. I divorced her and left her and now live in my new home. Not sure what I could have done beyond that. Plus I also filed for divorce the day after finding her cheating last year. I changed all finances straight away and I even walked her into the bank and told the manager I needed to remove her from the joint account. I cut her off financially and I'm 100% grey rock. Plus I exposed her cheating to family and friends, etc. I don't really know what he was aiming at either, but you should have ended the relationship far sooner. Probably after the Tinder fake account incident. Before all the assault stuff. I guess you weren't mainly out of concern for your children. Not really because of her. At least I hope that. But know that while the life outcomes regarding education, crime, poverty, drug abuse, mental health, even sexually, for children of stable families are better. The outcomes for children are better when the parents lived separated in an otherwise unworkable family. Meaning the best you could have done for the kids was to get rid of your wife earlier. I simply had nowhere to go to live, so was stuck living with her until I had a new home. I should have left her over a decade ago. I wish I'd never met her at all, but hindsight is wonderful. I see. All the best luck for the future then. That's frickin' brutal OP. So you're now co-parenting? What's child custody 50/50? That's what I was aiming at. From your post she was abusive and you had suspicion of her infidelity early on. So why would you stay? Why not put your foot down early on? It seems as if you took all her shit hoping somehow this will work itself out. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad to read what you did towards the end, but the first sign of abuse, assertive response and a proactive attitude should immediately be implemented. Reason why I stupidly never left her back then was due to me living in a foreign country and having no support network. We are half British, half American family. I was pretty much stuck and had no money at the time. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Have a wonderful day or night, wherever you are.